Captain Taemin stared at the blue planet through his ship's viewing screen. Earth looked just like any other world his people had found before. Green lands, blue oceans, white clouds. Nothing special. His crew was excited because they had found another young species to help join the galaxy. Another primitive world, said his second officer, clicking his forearms together. Look at those small metal objects flying around it. They call them space stations, but they are so tiny. Taemin nodded. His people, the Karathi, had been exploring space for over 50,000 years. They had found hundreds of worlds like this one, young species who had just started to leave their home planets. The Karathi always helped them learn about the galaxy and how to travel between stars. The ship moved closer to Earth. Radio signals came from the planet. The messages were simple and welcoming. The humans wanted to meet them. This was normal. Most young species were excited when they first met aliens. Dr. Sora waited at the landing site. She was a human scientist who studied old things. When the alien ship landed, she walked forward with a smile. She did not look surprised or scared like most people from new worlds. "Welcome to Earth," Sora said in perfect galactic standard language. This surprised Taemin. Most young species needed months to learn even basic words. "Thank you," Taemin replied. "We are happy to meet your people. We want to help you join the galactic community." Sora nodded slowly. "That is very kind. Would you like to see some of our history?" "I think you will find it interesting," Taemin agreed. His team followed Sora to a large building she called a museum. Inside were old objects from human history. At first, everything looked normal. Stone tools, metal weapons, old books. But then Taemin saw something that made him stop. On the wall was a stone tablet with symbols carved into it. The symbols showed a map of stars. But these were not the stars visible from Earth. These were stars from the Andromeda galaxy, millions of light years away. "This is very old," Sora explained. "We made it about 12,000 years ago." Taemin felt confused. How could humans map stars they could not see? Their telescopes were still very simple. They had only just started sending small ships to their nearby planets. In another room there were sculptures of strange creatures. Taemin recognized them immediately. One looked exactly like a Veltar, a species from the far side of the galaxy. Another was clearly a Zephyrian, with their long tentacles and crystal eyes. But humans had never met these species before today. "Where did you get these ideas?" asked Taemin's science officer. "Oh, we have always known about them," Sora said casually. "They appear in our old stories." The tour continued. Every room had more impossible things. Cave paintings showing space battles, ancient coins with pictures of alien worlds, books written thousands of years ago that described planets the galactic community had only found recently. Ambassador Kyung-ho joined them in the final room. He was an older human with kind eyes and gray hair. He spoke to Taemin's team about human history. "We have always been curious about the stars," Kyung-ho said. "Our ancestors told stories about great builders who made rings around stars. They spoke of shepherds who moved planets. They talked about architects who built roads between galaxies." Taemin's blood turned cold. The star shepherds were real. His people had found some of their work. Planets moved from dead systems to places where they could support life. But that happened millions of years ago. The shepherds had disappeared long before any current species had developed space travel. The ring builders were also real. Taemin had seen their work. Massive rings around stars that collected energy and supported billions of people. But all the rings were empty now. Their creators had vanished without a trace. "How do you know these names?" Taemin asked. "They are in our oldest stories," Kyung-ho replied. "Every culture on Earth has tales about them. We call them different names, but they are the same people." Taemin's mind raced. He thought about all the ancient mysteries his people had found. The void builders who made tunnels through space. The first architects who built the great space cities. Every galactic species had legends about these mysterious people. But the legends all described the same thing. Tall, curious beings who walked on two legs and had small body hair and clever hands. Just like humans. "Sir," whispered his communications officer, "I am getting strange readings from our scanners. The energy signatures around this planet, they match the technology we found at the ring builder sites." Taemin looked at Sora and Kyung-ho. They were smiling peacefully as if they knew exactly what he was thinking. "You already know, don't you?" Taemin said quietly. Kyung-ho nodded. "We have always known. We just chose to forget for a while." "Forget what?" "That we built all of it," Sora said simply. The rings, the planet movers, the space tunnels, all of it. We have been traveling between galaxies for millions of years. But every few million years we come home. We put away our big ships and advanced technology. We live simple lives and pretend to grow up again. Taemin felt dizzy. Why? Because power without wisdom is dangerous, Kyung-ho explained. We learned that if we stay advanced for too long, we start to think we are gods. So we reset ourselves. We live as farmers and teachers and artists. We remember what it means to be humble. But you remember eventually? When the time is right, Sora said. When the galaxy is ready to know the truth. Alarms began beeping on Taemin's communication device. Messages were coming from across the galaxy. Ancient monitoring stations were turning on. Machines that had been silent for millions of years were sending signals. Space structures that had been dark were beginning to glow with power. Taemin looked at the humans with new understanding and fear. These were not primitive people who needed help. These were the ancients themselves, the builders of everything his people thought was mysterious and impossible, and they were waking up. Commander Jinwoo could not sleep. 3 days had passed since Captain Taemin's report reached the Galactic Council. The news was impossible to believe, but the evidence was growing stronger every hour. Ancient systems across the galaxy were turning on, responding to signals from Earth. Jinwoo was the galaxy's best archaeologist. He had spent his life studying the mysterious builders who had left wonders throughout space. Now he was standing on Earth demanding answers from the humans. "Show me proof," Jinwoo said to Dr. Hyejin, the human scientist assigned to guide him. "Show me these monuments you claim are ancient technology." Hyejin smiled patiently. She was a small woman with bright eyes and short black hair. "Of course. Where would you like to start?" "The biggest one. Show me something that cannot be explained away." Hyejin led him to a transport vehicle. They flew over vast green lands until they reached a massive stone wall that stretched across mountains and valleys. Jinwoo had seen pictures of it before. Humans called it the Great Wall of China. "This wall is over 2,000 years old," Hyejin explained as they landed. "Your people probably think it was built to keep enemies out." Jinwoo nodded. "That is what our studies suggested." It was not. Hyejin pulled out a small device and pointed it at the wall. The device began beeping rapidly. "Look at the readings." Jinwoo stared at the display. The wall was giving off quantum energy signatures. Impossible. Stone could not generate quantum fields. "The wall is not just stone," Hyejin said. "Look closer." Jinwoo activated his advanced scanner, the most powerful archaeological tool his people had ever built. What he saw made his legs weak. The wall was filled with quantum crystals arranged in perfect patterns. Metal conductors ran through the stone, too fine to see without advanced equipment. "This is a quantum communication array," Jinwoo whispered. "The biggest one ever built," Hyejin confirmed. "It has been listening to signals from across the galaxy for over 2,000 years. Every message your people have ever sent, every transmission from every species we have contacted. We heard it all." Jinwoo felt sick. "You have been spying on us?" "Monitoring," Hyejin corrected, making sure everyone was safe. "The wall also sends signals outward. It has been guiding lost ships to safe harbors and warning colonies about dangerous space storms." They flew to their next destination. This time, Hyejin took him to a circle of tall stones standing in an empty field. Humans called it Stonehenge. "More stones," Jinwoo said, trying to sound skeptical. "More than stones." Hyejin activated another device. Instantly, Jinwoo's equipment detected massive gravitational wave patterns flowing through the stone circle. "This is impossible," Jinwoo muttered. "Gravitational wave detection requires technology we only developed 500 years ago." "We built this 4,000 years ago," Hyejin said calmly. "It has been monitoring every major gravitational event in the local galaxy cluster. Black hole mergers, neutron star collisions, stellar collapses. We have records of everything." Lieutenant Sung-ho, a human military officer, joined them at the site. He was a tall man with serious eyes and a calm voice. "Commander Jinwoo," Sung-ho said politely, "I understand you are having trouble believing what you are seeing." "Any rational being would," Jinwoo replied. "Let me show you something that might help." Sung-ho pulled out what looked like an ordinary book. The pages were made of paper and the writing was done with simple ink. "This is a maintenance manual written 3,000 years ago." Jinwoo took the book. He could read the human language, thanks to his translation implants. The book contained detailed instructions for maintaining quantum communication arrays. It described how to calibrate gravitational wave detectors. It explained how to repair quantum crystal matrices. Your ancestors wrote technical manuals for technology they did not have? Jinwoo asked. Our ancestors wrote technical manuals for technology they had hidden, Seung-ho corrected. We have always known what we built. We just pretended to forget. They flew to Egypt next to see the Great Pyramids. From the air, they looked like simple stone triangles rising from the sand. But when He-jin activated the scanning equipment, Jinwoo saw the truth. The pyramids were perfectly aligned with star patterns from galaxies far beyond what humans should be able to see. More than that, they were generating complex energy fields that extended far into space. Stellar positioning beacons, Jinwoo said, recognizing the technology. Ships traveling between galaxies use these for navigation. Now you understand, He-jin said. Every monument on Earth that your people think is primitive is actually advanced technology disguised as simple stone. Jinwoo sat down heavily on a nearby rock. His mind was spinning with the implications. How many others? All of them, Seung-ho replied. The stoneheads on Easter Island are deep space communication relays. The temples in Cambodia are quantum computer cores. The cliff dwellings in America are sensor arrays monitoring solar wind patterns. But why hide them? Jinwoo asked. Why pretend to be primitive? Because, He-jin said gently, when young species meet advanced ones, they either worship them or try to destroy them. Neither reaction is healthy. We wanted the galaxy to grow up naturally, to develop its own wisdom and technology. Seung-ho's communication device began beeping urgently. He listened for a moment, then looked at Jinwoo with serious eyes. Commander, I think you should know. Your government has just detected major changes in the galactic infrastructure. The hyperspace tunnel network is reconfiguring itself. Starlifting operations have resumed in 17 solar systems. The Great Ring habitats are beginning to rotate again. Jinwoo felt cold. How is that possible? Those systems have been dead for millions of years. They were never dead, Hyojin explained. They were sleeping, waiting for us to wake them up. She pulled out another device, this one looking like a simple smartphone. With a few touches on the screen, she brought up a display showing the entire galaxy. Thousands of points of light were blinking on across the star map. Every major piece of infrastructure your people have found, Hyojin said. Every wonder your scientists could not explain. Every piece of technology that seemed too advanced for its time. All of it is connected to Earth. All of it is responding to our signals. Jinwoo stared at the display. Earth is not just your home world. No, Seung-ho confirmed. Earth is the control center for the entire galactic civilization network. And we just turned it back on. President Daehai stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Council. Representatives from 300 species filled the massive chamber, their voices creating a chaos of fear and confusion. Some demanded explanations. Others called for military action. A few simply sat in shocked silence. Daehai was a calm woman in her 50s with gray hair and patient eyes. She waited for the noise to die down before speaking into the quantum transmitter that would carry her words to every inhabited world in the galaxy. Friends, she began, her voice clear and steady. I know you are afraid. I know our revelations have shaken your understanding of the universe. But please let me explain why we did what we did. The chamber fell silent. Every being present leaned forward to hear her words. We call it the return protocol, Daehai continued. Every few million years, humanity makes a choice. We put away our advanced technology, erase our own memories, and start over as a simple species. We live quiet lives, grow food, build families, and slowly rediscover the universe around us. Ambassador Veltar of the crystalline world stood up, his translucent body glowing with agitation. Why would any species choose to become primitive? Why give up power? Because power without wisdom destroys everything it touches, Daehai replied. We learned this lesson long ago in a time when we thought we were gods. Engineer Jun-sik stepped forward with a large book in his hands. He was a young man with kind eyes and oil-stained clothes. May I show them something, Madam President? Daehai nodded. Jun-sik activated a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. Images appeared showing pages from the book he carried. This is called the Norse Edda, Jun-sik explained. Your people probably think it is just human mythology. Stories about gods and giants and the end of the world. The images showed detailed drawings of great battles, massive wolves eating the sun, and gods fighting with advanced weapons that looked remarkably similar to modern energy rifles. But it is not mythology, June-sik continued. It is a historical record of our last reset cycle. Ragnarok was not the end of the world. It was the end of our advanced civilization. The gods were not magical beings. They were humans with technology so advanced it seemed like magic. He turned to another page. The rainbow bridge that connected the worlds was not magic either. It was our hyperspace transportation network. When the stories say the bridge broke during Ragnarok, they mean we shut down the network and destroyed the access codes. More images appeared, showing Greek myths this time. Titans holding up the sky, gods throwing lightning bolts, heroes traveling to distant lands on magical ships. Every mythology on Earth contains the same information, June-sik said. The Titans were our automated systems left running while we slept. The Greek gods were the maintenance crews that stayed awake to watch over everything. Their magical weapons were just tools we consider normal technology. Admiral Won-ho, an elderly man with sharp eyes and a military bearing, took over the presentation. The reason your archaeologists could never understand our ancient monuments is that they are not monuments. They are instruction manuals. The display changed to show religious texts from around Earth. The Bible, the Quran, Buddhist scriptures, Hindu epics. These are not just spiritual teachings, Won-ho explained. They are technical documentation disguised as stories. The Book of Ezekiel describes our spacecraft landing procedures. The Hindu epics contain detailed instructions for maintaining fusion reactors. Buddhist texts explain how to achieve the mental state needed to operate quantum computers. A representative from the hive colonies, an insect-like being with multiple arms, clicked their mandibles nervously. You are saying your religions are science manuals? Both, Dahai said. We learned that technology without spiritual wisdom leads to destruction. So we encoded both kinds of knowledge together. Future generations would rediscover the technology only when they had also developed the wisdom to use it responsibly. The chamber erupted in new discussions. Some representatives seemed fascinated, others terrified. Admiral Won-ho raised his hand for silence. There is something else you must understand, he said grimly. You have been asking why we hid among you, why we pretended to be young. The answer is that we were protecting you. From what? Demanded General Korthak of the War Moons. From the things that destroy civilizations, Won-ho replied. The galaxy is not as safe as you believe. There are threats out there that can end all life everywhere. The display changed again, showing images that made several representatives gasp in horror. Creatures that looked like living shadows consuming entire star systems. Mechanical beings that converted planets into geometric patterns. Energy entities that fed on the thoughts of living beings. The Devourers, Won-ho said, pointing to the shadow creatures. They eat everything. Matter, energy, time itself. The pattern makers turn every planet they touch into perfect geometric shapes, destroying all life in the process. The mind locusts consume consciousness itself, leaving empty bodies behind. These are myths, protested the representative from the Academic Alliance. Legend says they were destroyed eons ago. Legend says we destroyed them, Won-ho corrected. Every few million years they return, and every time humanity wakes up to stop them. Dahai stepped forward again. This is why we go to sleep. Fighting such enemies requires us to become something terrible ourselves. We become warriors who can reshape reality, destroyers who can unmake entire dimensions. After each war, we are no longer the people we want to be. So we choose to forget, June-sik added softly. We hide our weapons, delete our memories, and live as simple people until we remember what it means to love, to hope, to dream of peaceful futures. But you always remember eventually, observed the delegate from the floating cities. When the galaxy needs us, Dahai confirmed. Our hidden systems monitor everything. When enough species have developed wisdom and compassion, when the galactic community shows it can work together peacefully, then we know it is safe to reveal ourselves again. Admiral Won-ho's expression grew serious. And when our sensors detect the return of the old enemies, we remember what we need to remember to protect everyone. Are they returning now? Asked Ambassador Veltar, his crystalline body flickering with fear. No, Dahai said reassuringly. Right now we are waking up for a different reason. Because all of you have proven that you can build a civilization, based on cooperation instead of conquest. Because you have shown wisdom and kindness to species weaker than yourselves. Because, Junsik added with a smile, it is time for you to know the truth and choose what kind of universe you want to help us build. The chamber fell silent as representatives absorbed this information. Finally, the eldest member of the council, ancient sage Thys of the first colony, spoke in a voice like rustling leaves. What happens now, children of Earth? President Dahai smiled. Now we decide together. The age of secrets is over. The age of partnership begins. Dr. Minho floated in zero gravity as he guided the galactic delegation through what humans called the International Space Station. The alien representatives pressed against the viewing windows, staring at the small metal structure in confusion. This is your greatest achievement in space? Asked Commander Thexer of the Solar Hegemony. His three eyes blinked independently as he tried to understand why humans seemed proud of such a tiny outpost. Minho was a cheerful man in his 40s with graying hair and laugh lines around his eyes. He smiled as he activated a control panel that seemed far too advanced for the simple station around them. Not our greatest achievement, Minho said, our most obvious one. The space station began to change. What looked like simple solar panels unfolded into complex sensor arrays. Communication dishes emerged from hidden compartments. The whole structure grew larger as hidden sections extended outward. For the past 70 years, Minho explained, this station has been monitoring every transmission in the galaxy, every ship movement, every colonial expansion, every diplomatic message between your species. We needed to know if you were developing into a peaceful civilization or a warlike one. The aliens stared as more hidden technology revealed itself. Weapons systems that could destroy battleships, defensive shields that could deflect planet-killer missiles, sensors that could detect a single ship anywhere within 50 light years. You have been spying on all of us, said Ambassador Zethal of the Merchant Rings, his voice filled with anger. We have been protecting all of you, Minho corrected gently. This station has secretly stopped 14 major wars, 17 attempted genocides, and 32 colonial invasions. Sometimes we just sent anonymous warnings. Other times we had to be more direct. Captain Yunji joined them at the observation deck. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a military uniform that seemed to be made of materials that shifted and changed in the light. Would you like to see our recent work? Yunji asked politely. She led them to another section of the station, where a massive holographic display showed the solar system. But it was not the solar system the aliens thought they knew. Mars glowed with energy signatures that indicated massive industrial operations hidden beneath its surface. The asteroid belt sparkled with thousands of automated mining platforms disguised as ordinary rocks. Jupiter's moons showed clear signs of advanced bases. Your people think we have small colonies on Mars, Yunji said. Simple research stations and farming domes. The display zoomed in on Mars. The simple human colonies revealed themselves to be massive. Underground cities connected by transport, tunnels that ran through the planet's core, factory complexes the size of continents churned out technology that made galactic standard equipment look primitive. Mars is not a colony, Yunji explained. It is our main industrial base for this solar system. We have been building ships there for decades. What kind of ships? Asked General Vorthak of the combined fleets. In answer, Yunji touched her control pad. The space around Mars shimmered, and suddenly the aliens could see hundreds of vessels that had been invisible moments before. Massive ships that dwarfed the largest galactic dreadnoughts. Sleek fighters that seemed to be made of crystallized starlight. Transport vessels that could carry entire cities between worlds. We build them, then hide them, Yunji said simply. Cloaking technology is one of our older inventions. The display shifted to show Earth's moon. The aliens had always thought it looked unusually perfect, but their scientists had assured them it was natural. The moon is artificial, Minho said casually, as if he was discussing the weather. We built it about 4 billion years ago to stabilize Earth's rotation and control the tides. The moon's surface appeared to peel away like an onion, revealing layer after layer of technology. Computer cores the size of continents processing data from across the galaxy. Manufacturing facilities that could rebuild entire worlds. Storage areas containing the knowledge and resources of 1 million civilizations. The moon is our main computer, Minho continued. Every piece of information gathered by every human expedition across space and time is stored there. Every scientific discovery, every cultural achievement, every lesson learned about how to build peaceful societies. General Sujin appeared on the station via transport beam. She was an older woman with silver hair and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. She carried what looked like a simple tablet computer. Perhaps, Sujin said quietly, it is time for a demonstration. She touched a single command on her tablet. Instantly, alarms began sounding throughout the galactic fleet surrounding Earth. The alien ships detected massive energy signatures appearing throughout the galaxy. On the holographic display, the aliens watched in awe and terror as dead worlds suddenly bloomed with life. Planets that had been barren for millions of years sprouted forests and oceans in minutes. Atmosphere processors hidden in asteroids activated, giving dead worlds breathable air. Ancient space elevators that had been considered broken ruins suddenly extended from planets to their moons. The cables glowed with power as they began lifting massive cargo containers filled with resources and people. Ring worlds that had been dark and cold for eons began to rotate again. Their artificial suns ignited, providing light and warmth to surfaces that could support trillions of beings. Gardens that had been dormant for geological ages burst into bloom. Every world you consider dead, Sujin explained, has been waiting for us to wake it up. Every ancient structure your people found has been in sleep mode, ready to serve life again. But the most terrifying change was happening to space itself. The aliens watched as hyperspace travel lanes shifted and realigned. New passages opened between distant galaxies. Wormhole networks that had been closed for millions of years reopened, creating highways across the universe. You are rewriting the laws of physics, whispered Dr. Yelnoth of the Science Directorate. We are restoring them, Minho corrected. What you think of as natural space is actually space that has been heavily modified by us over millions of years. We made travel easier, made habitable worlds more common, made life more likely to develop and survive. Captain Yunji pointed to the gravitational fields around Earth's solar system. Every gravity well in the local galactic region has been fine-tuned to protect developing civilizations. Every black hole has been positioned to clean up dangerous cosmic debris. Every neutron star has been calibrated to provide energy for advanced civilizations. The galaxy itself, Sujin said with quiet pride, is our greatest work of engineering. We have been gardening it for so long that most species think the current arrangement is natural. Ambassador Veltar of the Crystalline Worlds began to glow with distress. If you can do all this, why do you need us? Why not just rule the galaxy directly? Because, Minho said gently, gardens are not meant to have only one type of flower. We learned long ago that diversity makes everything stronger. Each species brings new ideas, new perspectives, new solutions to problems we might not even recognize. And because, Yunji added, even gardeners need help. The universe is vast and there is always more work to do, more worlds to tend, more life to nurture, more wonders to create. Sujin smiled as she looked at the frightened faces around her. We are not showing you this to demonstrate our power over you. We are showing you this to demonstrate what we can accomplish together. The real question, Minho said, is not whether you can accept us as we are. The question is whether you want to join us in becoming something greater than any of us could be alone. The aliens stared out at the transformed galaxy, watching as the universe itself reshaped according to humanity's ancient design. For the first time, they began to understand that they were not just meeting another species, they were being invited to help tend the cosmic garden. Philosopher Yunseo sat in the center of the Galactic Council chamber, surrounded by representatives who had been arguing for hours. Fear filled the air like a thick cloud. Some species wanted to fight the humans. Others wanted to surrender immediately. A few demanded to return to their homeworlds and pretend none of this had ever happened. Yunseo was an elderly woman with white hair and calm eyes that seemed to hold infinite patience. She had been listening to their fears without speaking. Now she raised her hand for silence. You are asking the wrong questions, she said softly. You want to know if humans are your friends or enemies. You want to know if we will rule you or free you. But the real question is much bigger than that. She stood and walked to the center of the chamber, where a holographic display showed the entire known universe. The question is why life exists at all, Yunseo continued. Why is the universe not empty? Why do stars form planets instead of just burning alone? Why do planets develop life instead of staying dead? The answer is that none of it is natural. Historian Dong-hyun joined her, carrying an ancient book with pages that seemed to glow with their own light. He was a middle-aged man with tired eyes and ink-stained fingers. "We have kept records for billions of years," Dong-hyun said, opening the book. "Would you like to know what we found when we first became intelligent enough to travel between stars?" The holographic display changed, showing images that made several aliens gasp in horror. Vast areas of empty space where galaxies should have been, dead zones where nothing could live. Creatures of living darkness consuming entire solar systems. The universe was dying, Dong-hyun continued. Life had developed on a few worlds, but it was being hunted. There were things out there that fed on consciousness itself. Other things that converted all matter into geometric patterns. Beings that consumed time and left nothing behind but empty space. He turned the pages of his book, showing more images. We called them the Devourers, the Pattern Makers, the Time Locusts. The Void Spawn. There were dozens of different types, but they all had one goal: to end all life everywhere. "These are myths," protested Ambassador Kextall of the Trade Federation. "Legends from primitive cultures." "These are historical records," Dong-hyun replied calmly. "Every extinct civilization you have found was destroyed by these entities. The Vorthek Empire, the Crystal Builders, the First Colony, the Singing Worlds. We have their final transmissions." The display showed the last messages from dead civilizations, desperate pleas for help, warnings about entities that could not be fought with normal weapons. Final transmissions cut short by things that consumed the very concepts of life and thought. Scientist Boram stepped forward with a device that looked like a simple scanner. She was a young woman with bright eyes and clothes covered in equations written in glowing ink. "May I show them what we did about it?" Boram asked. Yunseo nodded. Boram activated her scanner, and the holographic display expanded to show the structure of space itself. "Black holes are not natural," Boram said simply. "We made them." The alien stared in shock as the display showed black holes not as cosmic accidents, but as carefully constructed devices. Each one was positioned precisely to create gravitational effects that protected life-bearing worlds. "Every black hole in the universe is a waste disposal system," Boram continued. "When we destroy entities that threaten life, we need somewhere to put the remains. Regular matter can be recycled, but some things are so dangerous that they must be completely removed from reality." She pointed to different black holes on the display. "This one contains the remains of a pattern maker that tried to convert the Andromeda Galaxy into a geometric equation. That one holds the void spawn that consumed 300 star systems in the local group. This one is where we disposed of the time locusts that were eating causality itself." "You can destroy black holes?" asked General Vorthek, his voice filled with awe and terror. "We can create them, move them, modify them, or unmake them," Boram replied. "But we prefer to use them as tools. They are very useful for containing things that should not exist." The display changed again, showing the structure of galaxies themselves. What the aliens had always thought were natural spiral arms revealed themselves to be carefully designed patterns. "Galactic structure is not random," Boram explained. "We arranged the stars to create safe zones where life could develop. We positioned nebulae to provide raw materials for world building. We calibrated the rotation of galaxies to prevent dangerous gravitational interactions." Scientist Min Seok joined them, carrying what appeared to be a simple piece of dark crystal. He was a quiet man with gentle hands and eyes that seemed to see beyond the visible spectrum. "This is dark matter," Min Seok said, holding up the crystal. "Your scientists think it is mysterious because they cannot see it directly, but it is not mysterious to us." He placed the crystal in the scanner, and suddenly the entire display changed. The space between stars revealed itself to be filled with vast networks of crystalline structures, invisible to normal sensors but clearly visible in the new display. "Dark matter is our construction material," Min Seok continued. "Every galaxy is held together by support structures we built from crystallized spacetime. Every solar system is stabilized by foundations you cannot see. Every planet orbits on rails we constructed from folded dimensions. The entire universe," Yunseo said quietly, "is our city. We built it over billions of years, one star at a time, one world at a time. Every place where life can exist, we prepared for it. But why?" demanded Ambassador Zethal. "Why spend so much effort protecting species you had never met?" "Because life is precious," Dong-hyun replied simply. "Because consciousness is the rarest thing in the universe. Because every thinking being that develops represents billions of years of cosmic evolution, and losing even one species makes the universe poorer. And because, Yunseo added, we learned that diversity makes everything stronger. Every species sees the universe differently. Every culture finds solutions we might miss. Every new civilization brings new ideas that make all of us better. Boram activated another display, showing the current state of the universe. Thousands of galaxies teemed with life. Millions of species had developed space travel. Billions of worlds supported complex ecosystems. This is what the universe looks like when life is protected and nurtured, Boram said with pride. When we first became space travelers, fewer than a dozen worlds in the entire universe supported intelligent life. Now there are millions. Every time a new species develops, Minseok added, the universe becomes more stable, more diverse, more resistant to the kinds of threats that once nearly destroyed everything. You are not our subjects, Yunseo said, looking directly at each alien representative. You are our partners in the greatest project ever attempted, making the universe itself into a place where life can flourish. The cosmic truth, Donghyun said, closing his ancient book, is that none of you developed by accident. We guided stellar formation to create the right kinds of suns. We positioned planets in the zones where life could emerge. We protected young worlds from cosmic disasters until their species were strong enough to protect themselves. But we did not create you, Yunseo emphasized. We just made sure you had the chance to create yourselves. Every species' achievements are their own. Every civilization's wisdom comes from their own experiences. We just provided the safe space for that growth to happen. The chamber fell silent as the aliens absorbed this information. Finally, ancient sage Thys of the first colony spoke in a voice like wind through crystal chimes. What happens to us now, gardeners of reality? Yunseo smiled. Now you choose. You can remain as you are, and we will continue to protect and guide you as we always have. Or you can join us in tending the cosmic garden. Learn to build worlds, guide the development of new species, protect life throughout the universe. The universe is vast, Boram added. There is room for many different kinds of gardeners. And there is always more work to do, Minseok concluded. More life to nurture, more wonders to create, more threats to guard against. The cosmic truth, Yunseo said finally, is that the universe was never hostile to life. It has been carefully maintained by those who understand that existence itself is a miracle worth protecting. Around the chamber, representatives began to understand that they were not victims of a cosmic deception. They were inheritors of a cosmic gift that had been billions of years in the making.